Okay, I'm at the airport and I feel really called to make this video because I feel like God is just putting this on my heart right now. I'm just leaving Rome. I'm in Portugal right now. I'm in a connecting flight and then I'm going back to New York. Probably gonna go to Florida after just so I can regroup before I do second year of acting class. I've been in New York for about 4 years now and it's just feeling like so heavy, and I was just like really faced with immense anxiety, and I was like disassociating when I was in Rome for the last day that I was there, and I decided to cut the trip short because I was honestly originally planning that I was gonna be there for about like 2 weeks to a month, and I feel like I'm just in a season where God is I became really overwhelmed when I was at the apartment because I think I was faced with a lot of things. It was just a lot of things came up with past relationships. I just like was feeling the grief of my mom being gone, and just realizing the lifestyle I truly want one day, and like how I do want a family, and I like the thought of just having like this sole thing that I was chasing so deeply was just this career, and how empty it ended up making me feel because like what is that without growing something else with somebody? And so I was just faced with a lot right now, and just there was a lot that came up in my brain too, just how sinful nature we are, and no matter how hard we try, we're just like always going to be short. But it's not like a pity thing, it's just like realizing that that's why like Jesus died on the cross for us, is because we're not ever going to be perfect, and he literally had to come down and save us in that way and die for our sins. And I think another big thing that I feel like why New York has been so heavy is because I just don't have family out there. I have an amazing church group and amazing friends, and I was talking it out earlier about maybe why I feel this way. And I think God is just really, it's so funny, I read this thing and it was like, I'm not looking for a reason to quit, I'm just looking for a reason to have strength to get through it. And I literally feel like that's just me right now. Like I'm really just like trying to buckle down because I know this winter is going to be really hard. Winters were already hard when I had my ex living with me, and I can't imagine like doing it again alone. It's just like really painful, and the loneliness of it all is just hard. And I know there's actually a verse that I was like reading before I came out here, and it was saying that how honestly God truly, let me restate this correctly, I have my Bible with me, but I'll put the like actual verse in, but it's basically saying that how he does admire times when we're in grief, not that he likes it, but our heart grows more than if we were just happy all the time and cheerful. Like, and I feel like I'm facing that because the hardship that like my heart has been stretched truly like this summer in every single way with everything that happened, and there's just so much grief and pain I'm feeling, and I know it's going to be for like a higher purpose, or for me to understand. And truly, if I ever meet people that are going through the same thing, like I'll literally know it to the core of hurt, ache, trying to just go through and do something because they know and believe in themselves. But I don't know, it really just stuck with me when like they were saying like you're just looking for the strength to get through it, you're not looking for reasons to quit. And so I'm here and I'm gonna go back to Florida, and I think it's really important. What I was kind of like pondering on is that I don't feel like a failure because this didn't work out, but because like I had the capacity to not only see it through. Solo traveling is insane, and I feel like that's why so many people don't do it. You're one, just facing everything on your own, the second you leave, especially for me, I left New York. It's this place where you're just constantly consuming so much content, so much. Everything is accessible to you. If you want something, you can go get it because there's 30,000 things like what you want, whether it's food, events, anything. And it's all accessible at the palm of your fingers. You can Uber Eats anything. Everything is just so, you can just touch it and you got it. And I think that when you stop and slow down, which is what a lot of people don't do, because even when they're alone in their room, they're just consuming content, all this stuff that they literally actually genuinely do not have time to stop and create their own thoughts in their own. And even like people I know, like they're just like the second there's silence, music's playing or anything of that sort, because they just like don't want to be in their own head. And a lot of people, it's a very scary place to be, which rightfully so, because it's just like that's when you face you. Like, do you even really know who you are without all these different things? Like, do you like them because the world likes them or because you genuinely like them? And I think that I'm just, I want to struggle less for a little bit, and that's okay. And I think that that's like such an amazing place to be. And I was talking to my best friend Katie, and she's like, Leah, every single pinpoint of grief that you feel, like feel it. Feel every single one, because you don't want one left unopened. Because I feel like that is like the part where you get to grow and move forward from. Because if I don't feel every single thing, it's gonna come up again. And I feel like that's what I've been kind of like learning in this season. It's just like, I know it's going to be really hard when I go back to New York. I know financially it's going to be a struggle. I know I really want a relationship. I know what I like value in a relationship, and I didn't before. I was just kind of floundering around in life. I knew I was so set on my career, and that really was like the only thing I was like putting my seeds into, because like all these different things were going on in my brain. And I feel like when I was finally alone and everything slowed, and I was just at the lake and it was beautiful, and I'm so grateful I got to experience this week here, but it was like your brain, things come up that you never even thought were going to come up, because everything's clear. Especially if you're in a place where like you don't have Wi-Fi or connection. It's just allowing you to just think your own thoughts. And that's a big reason why I deleted social media. So I'm literally just gonna stick to YouTube, because I like the idea of just making videos, not caring if it's edited good or not, and just, this is like raw and real. And that's a big reason why I started that podcast originally, the Leah Garcia podcast, because I was telling my friends, and I was sobbing to them before I left. I was sitting in the couch with my friend Trista and Noble, and I was like, the world just feels so disingenuous, because everybody's just seeming like they have it all together, and nobody's talking about the grief and the realness that they feel. And I feel like that's like where you learn and human connection is formed, at that pinpoint of that, instead of just acting like everything is fine and dandy all the time. And I just feel like I'm just going through everything that I could feel, and I feel like this is the best point, because this summer has been insane in the best and worst ways possible. But I feel like if I didn't expose myself to all these things, I would never have learned these things about myself that are like core values to me as a person, and what I want in a future family and home, and where that is and what that looks like. So yeah, and I think God is just always one last note, I guess, is I was like being really hard on myself, and I was like, what did I do wrong in the world that God is punishing me for? And I feel like a lot of times my misconception of when I'm going through painful things is like, okay, I must have done something that like is triggering this. Like, what did I do? Why is this my karma? And I was actually reading in Job the other day that there was no, he was a noble man. And it just so happened that God wanted to teach him lessons and just relying on him. And I think that's another big thing is just, I was faced with this question and it was like, if you knew God was going to be with you and gives you the strength and to endure this season, would you still do it? And I was like immediately that yes, I would be in New York in a heartbeat and I would finish acting. So it has nothing to do with whether or not I can do it, but it's just like knowing that He is going to provide that strength for me. And that's what really changed. I think when you're faced with something, a really, really tough thing in life, I think that's something that you can ask yourself is, if God was here right now and He was going to go through the season with me, would I still do it? Because before I was like, what does God want me to do? Does He want me to like start leading in ministry? And I really feel like He's calling me to do that. So that's why I also want to do this like YouTube platform, because it's way more genuine and it's so hard to convey that over Instagram. Like TikTok will be easier, but I just don't even want to deal with it. And my brain's just all over the place, but that's pretty much this video. I'm just doing what I feel led to do now, and I'm just gonna eat some food because that's probably why I'm crying all the time too, is I'm just like dehydrated. So I'll see you next time.